Bet you didn't expect to see this from my dead channel, did ya?
Captain Boomerang, Digger Harkness, the man who made a career out of throwing curved sticks. Where do I begin? Well, I guess just a brief introduction to the guy before we dive right in. The man made his debut in the 1960s in The Flash 117. He's a guy who throws boomerangs at people. That is his gimmick. And it is amazing. Now, enough stalling. Let's get into the big question you probably have. So, what exactly makes this guy such an endearing character to me? Well, it's a few things, but they are quite simple. He's an underdog, his gimmick has a lot of variety and potential, and his life freaking sucks to the point that it makes me pray he gets a win to offset some of the crap the writers have thrown at him. I would like to steal an example from Pancreas No Work in relation to Boomerang and the world that he lives in. He is essentially this universe's Krillin, just with a lot less morals. The reason I make this comparison is because Krillin is consistently clowned on for being weak compared to the other characters, but I gotta ask you, what would happen if you attempted to mug this man on the street? You die. No ifs, ands, or buts. This guy kills you with no contest. The same thing goes for Boomerang. He's an extremely talented, cunning, and strategic individual, but he lives in a universe where demigods patrol the streets, so he looks extremely weak and worthless by comparison. This sort of feeds into my third point as well, because this guy would absolutely be feared and respected if he existed in our universe with the kind of crap that he pulls off. But he's considered a laughingstock among his peers simply because he doesn't have any real OP power baked into his genetics. He makes up for it, though. He has boomerangs that can absolutely tear through people, some that explode, and a few other situational ones, all crafted by my boy. I'll just go out and say it. The guy is just a more impressive Deadshot, like not even joking. Think about what Deadshot does. He shoots Bullet. Bullet bounces off things. Bullet never misses target. Boomerang does essentially the same thing, except with a weapon that is extremely difficult to master and can be wildly inconsistent depending on factors like weather. Have you ever thrown a boomerang? Ever attempted to have it returned to you? I have, and I can't, 'cause I suck. This man is throwing these things, having them pick up jewelry from buildings 5 blocks away and return to him without any issue. Also, some of his Silver Age antics are just freaking amazing. Like attaching Flash to a boomerang that launches into space, making a time-traveling boomerang in prison, and taking down Flash by making his body a boomerang and slamming into his forehead. Silver Age was great. Plus, this guy is pretty dang cunning. I mean, in his debut comic, he avoids getting captured by the Flash just by gaslighting him into thinking that somebody wearing his exact clothing was impersonating him. He even hired some actors to back up his fake story. Plus, he managed to hit the fastest man alive in the back of the head with a weapon that is way slower than a bullet in this debut comic as well, and managed to knock him out. Pretty damn impressive. Now, let's get into some lore. Spoiler alert, a lot of it is downright depressing. So, first off, the guy's dad flat out abandoned him when his mom was pregnant with him. Great start. Then, his mom married a guy named Ian who absolutely hated our lad and made his life even more crap. Eventually, Digger moved to the US after he turned 18 and became the most Australian villain to ever villain. The guy fought the Flash a few times and got his butt whooped pretty much every single time, but he never gave up the villain game. And then, well, the Suicide Squad became a thing. Now, for all 2 of you who don't know what the Suicide Squad is, let me explain. The US government essentially takes every somewhat controllable villain under the sun, refuses to give them the death penalty, locks them up for a life sentence or 2, and then lets them work off their time in prison by doing suicide missions they don't want to waste regular soldiers on. You know how in Darkest Dungeon you're supposed to treat your heroes like expendable pawns and not actual people? That's how the squad operates. and Boomerang has survived mission after mission. When I think Suicide Squad, I think Deadshot and Boomerang, because they have survived almost every single mission they have been a part of, and then came back from, like, the two that they died in. And you should remember, this guy doesn't have any powers, and he's outlived pretty much every metahuman that has went on these missions with him. This goes back to my earlier point about him being cunning. He knows that he can't take people head-on with the odds that he's facing, so he stays back a lot of the time and strikes when it's not expected. He realizes that people don't perceive him as a real threat, and he plays off on that. He's a survivor through and through. He may be a bastard sometimes, but still, he usually lives, and everyone else is usually dead. Now, moving on from that, let's talk about one of the biggest lore developments for my boy before DC did that whole universal reset thing. Identity Crisis. Now, in this comic, Boomerang knows that he's essentially washed up, and because of this, he decides to focus on other parts of his life while taking smaller jobs. One of these focuses is Owen Mercer, his son. Yeah, canonically, Boomerang fornicates. Anyway, Boomerang reconnects with his son and starts teaching him how to throw boomerangs. During this training session, however, it is revealed that his son is a bit of a speedster. How is that possible? Well, we will talk about it later. So, things are looking up for Boomerang. He's finally got something positive going on in his life. Remember, his family situation was crap, and his mom is dead as well, so Owen is really the only family that he has that can stand him. Now, you know how I mentioned earlier how the writers like to make this guy's life miserable? Well, they kinda got bored of doing that and decided to try their hand at killing him off instead.
Mate, can I borrow your pen?
So, he's dead now, and his son just sort of goes, yeah, screw it. I'll become the new Captain Boomerang, why not? So what's the deal with Owen? Why is he a speedster? Well, it's revealed a few issues later that while the Flash and Reverse Flash, Dr. Zoom, I don't know, the yellow suit guys were fighting him on the cosmic treadmill. Time travel mechanism, weird to explain. And the Thing decided to just sort of scoop a younger Boomerang up and chuck him into the future where he, got amnesia and met Melanie Fawn. Who is she? Descendant of the Reverse Flash, mother of Kid Flash, and daughter-in-law to Barry Allen, another Flash. So, yeah, kind of explains the speedster genes. It's never explained how Boomerang and his son got sent back to the past, by the way, like, at all. Maybe it was a time-traveling Boomerang, I don't know. Owen is his own weird character that I can't really get into, so just know that he really respected and misses his dad. Missed him so much, in fact, that when the Blackest Night event happened, and Boomerang came back as a zombie, Owen just sort of went, yeah, I'll sacrifice men, women, and children to this demon wearing my dad as a skin suit. And then zombie Boomerang just kills him as well, after the rogues push Owen into the pit where he was being kept in. Dear God. But don't worry, guys, don't worry, everything is fine. Boomerang comes back as a White Lantern, and lost like 80 pounds, I guess. And he still kept some abilities from being a Black Lantern, like making energy boomerangs. Pretty cool, right? Totally worth the trauma of being responsible for your own son's death. By the way, Owen never came back after this. He's gone, permanently gone, never mentioned again. Anyway, final lore part for this universe. He got cancer. Yeah. Might have been from the cigarettes with the Boomerang ashtray, I don't know. Oh, and then Amanda Waller suicide bombs him, because why not?
This is weird.
Just don't even get me started on the new universe, man. In this universe, Boomerang's dad left his mom like in the original, except she never married again. But here's the kicker. Boomerang only became proficient with his signature weapons because his dad was a fan of them. So he started carving them on his own and got really good with them just so he could impress his father with his skills if he ever came back home. I'm getting depressed reading the script, man. It's just... Give my boy a win! Oh, and one final depressing note to end the lore section on. This universe has its own version of Owen, but he's not similar to his previous iteration at all. Let's just read a quote from the wiki page, shall we? I was precocious, brilliant, a genius. I invented dreams, but my true father was some passing nuclear physicist, some Nobel Prize winner. So imagine my horror when she told me my real father was probably you! Jesus Christ, can we cut my boy a break? Now, why did I tell you all of this information? What purpose did it serve? Well, my intention was to show you just how bad this guy's life is. No love from most of his family, no respect from his peers, the universe seemingly engineering tragedy after tragedy for this man to suffer through. And you know what he does? He gets up, again and again, with his weird gimmick. He continues to face odds none of us could ever face as just a man with no powers and a couple of curved sticks. Not your conventional underdog, but an underdog nonetheless. It really is a shame that Boomerang just isn't in any DC products for doing much justice. I mean, the first Suicide Squad movie was pretty crap. I think we can all agree on that.
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
And the second one, while good, had him die in the first 5 minutes due to his own teammates' incompetence. God, that smile, dude, it just breaks my heart. I wish DC would let somebody competent do something with Boomerang as the lead. I mean, Kite Man got his own animated show, and my boy is here left high and dry. Oh, wait. There is one piece of media where my boy is in a lead role position.
So, figure out who we're killing yet? Oh, fuck.
Okay, just hear me out. Now, despite this game being widely regarded as doo-doo and crapping all over the legacy of the Arkham universe, there is one major upside to this game, one major redeeming quality that I have to give credit for, and that is, my boy is the fucking GOAT!
Willful property damage is my middle name. Captain Boomerang at your funeral service.
Now, I know that this game has a bad reputation, and rightfully so, given a lot of factors, but if there's one thing I can say that is great about this game, it's Boomerang. I love his redesign, I love that he's a speedster in this, I love his traversal and how he Speed Force dashes to wherever his boomerang is thrown, I love his voice actor's performance, I love some of his corny one-liners. The captain is carrying this game on his back. Honestly, if Rocksteady had just made a single-player action game like Arkham, except they replaced Batman with Boomerang, easy $1 trillion, God, what I wouldn't give to live in the timeline where that was the game we got.
Unpredictable tactics reap results.
So, what was the point of me making this video? Well, I wanted to shine light on a character that I think deserves more recognition. A character who had an extremely goofy start that turned into a decently complex lad and an overall cool guy to follow. I also wanted to express my frustrations about the fact that we finally get a game where you can play as the guy, and it turned into one of the biggest flops of the year. Fortunately, not the biggest. Thank you, Concord. Thank you, Dustborn. So yeah, unfortunately, my theory is that this guy isn't going to get the spotlight again anytime soon. I mean, DC is probably going to try to move away from anything associated with this game. Except Harley Quinn for some reason, because they really seem to be obsessed with her.
What the hell is this?
So it's safe to assume that my boy will have to wait another decade or so before he gets another shot at something of his own. So my conclusion? The guy is cool, wish he had more stuff about him, and finally, whenever you start to feel cocky or overconfident in whatever it is you're doing, just a reminder to humble yourself, because as I have shown you all here, definitively, Captain Boomerang is cooler than you. Thanks for watching. Finally, I'm done editing that video. I can finally just sit back, relax, and play some high-pixel Skyblock. Oh yeah, I forgot that I made that.